This video is about how to import data from a CSV file into Excel. CSV stands for comma separated values is one of the most often used format to interchange data between, for example, databases and Excel. So most of the databases and most of those APIs, application programming interfaces you can find in the internet will offer a CSV export so that you in a second step can import the data into Excel. Usually your setting of Excel is in a way that CSV files are directly offered for Excel. You can see this Excel symbol. It looks a little bit different compared to the XLSX symbol, but anyhow, if you simply double click on these type of files, Excel will open and will try to import this file. That's what I'm doing right here. So what you can see here is first a possible data loss information. If you have CSV files, not all functionality is offered. For example, the formatting is not part of CSV. So if you would like to continue in the longer run, you should think about saving it as an XLSX file later on. We put this away and we see that actually it's not as we might have expected. What you can see is if you click in the upper left corner in this cell A1 that some data is given, some date, some Bundesland, ID, Altersgruppe, Bevölkerung, and so on and so on. This is all in German, I'm sorry for that, but the content doesn't matter anyhow. What you can see is that you have some separators, some character which separates the single fields from each other. In here it's a comma, so Meldedatum, comma, Bundesland, comma, and so on and so on. What you have to do now is to somehow get the data which is organized in rows, but where each data set is in one single set, you have to somehow organize it and to split it up into several cells. For that, we do have a function. We go to this tab data, and here you have in this data tools area, you have this text to columns function. If I click on here, a new option window pops up. And what you can see here, you have a preview. So you can see all the data we have selected before. And for the first, you have to decide if you have a delimited characters or you have fixed width. So if you know, for example, each of your data fields has exactly 4 characters, then fixed width would be an option. But we take the delimited, that means we look for a separator. We click on next. And now the thing is, we have to carefully have a look on these entries and see what kind of separator is available. I've already told you it is this comma. And once I click on the comma, you see the data is split into several columns. And if the data is organized in a way that you say, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for, then you can go to the next step. If I click on semicolon, not too much happens. If I click, for example, on this minus sign, then you see the data is separated. However, later on, not what we would like to look for. So again, I'm going for the comma. And now I can step through each of these cells and try to define the data types. You can see this number format or data types which are offered in here. For the first one, it seems to be a date. So what I'm looking for is a date, and then there's several number formats related to date offered. So it seems to be a year, a month, a day. So DMY is not the one to choose for, but YMD seems to be better, year, month, day. You can look for the next one. It seems to be simply
text general seems to be fine. That's the number. It will be identified if you click on leave it as general as it has been. However, interesting is these incidents 7 days, because these ones are not integers. These ones are numbers which have maybe a fractional part behind the dot. And this can be tricky. So I click on advanced because I have to choose what kind of decimal separator is used. In Germany, usually the comma is taken as a decimal separator. However, as databases and programming languages and APIs and so on most often use a dot, you can choose a dot. Which means the 1000 separator should be something else, for example the comma. I leave it like that and I'll finish. And if I now scroll down, you see it's the COVID data, which gets interesting if you really go down, because in January not so much has happened. But you now see I have chosen the right decimal separator. It was the dot, and now it has been changed into a comma because my Excel setting uses a comma. From here onwards, you can do whatever you like. You can use diagrams, you can fill in formulas, and so on and so on. However, if you would see, for example, that something has not done correctly, has not been done correctly, then you could step back. Actually, there is one thing which is not that well. You see this May 14. Basically, the data which has been in here has always been 05 minus 14. You can see it's all different kind of ages. Here you have 0.0 00 to 04, so the first 4 years. Then you have all the years 00 plus, and then there is 05 to 14 or 05 to 14, which is interpreted as a day. So every 5th or 6th column you see this date, which is a misinterpretation of the data format. As I don't want to work with this column C later on, I leave it like it is.